Most people think algae is just a small problem. But what if I told you it can completely ruin your aquarium if you ignore it? I learned this the hard way. At one point, my tank looked perfect. Clear glass, healthy plants, active fish. But over time, it blocks the clear view of your aquarium. And then slowly, green started appearing on the glass. Then the plants. And then long hair-like algae took over everything. Within days, my aquarium didn't look beautiful anymore. It looked out of control. If you're seeing the same thing in your tank, don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to show you how I brought my tank back to balance in a simple and natural way. Hi guys, welcome back to Aqua World Life. If you're new here, I create aquarium content based on my real experience. And today, we are solving one of the most common problems, algae. In my aquarium, I mainly noticed two types of algae. The first one is glass algae. It looks like a thin green layer slowly covering the glass. At first, it doesn't look like a big problem, but over time, it blocks the clear view of your aquarium. So whenever I see this building up, I don't wait too long. I use a magnetic glass cleaning tool. One part stays inside the tank, and the other part stays outside. And as I move it, it cleans the glass from inside. I don't even have to put my hand in the water. And honestly, it's very satisfying to use. Within a few seconds, the glass becomes clear again. Now the second type is hair algae. This one is more aggressive. It grows like soft threads on plants, decorations, or even floating in the water. And once it starts spreading, it grows very fast. This is where most people lose control of their tank. From my experience, this happens because of imbalance. Too much light, too much feeding, and not maintaining the tank regularly. I was making all these mistakes, so I started correcting them. I reduced my light to about 6 to 8 hours. I controlled feeding, and I became more consistent with water changes. If you're finding this useful, make sure you hit the like button. It really supports the channel. But here's the thing. Even after fixing all this, algae was still coming back. That's when I realized I needed something more, something natural. So I planned to introduce a few natural helpers into my tank. But I didn't add them immediately. I let the tank stabilize first. After a few days, I got them ready. I wanted to introduce them properly first. And once I added them into the aquarium, that's when things really started to change. In my aquarium, I now have a mix of different types working together. Some stay near the bottom, some move across the glass, and some are always active on plants and decorations. At first, I didn't think much about them, but over time, I started noticing how useful they actually are. The ones near the substrate help keep the bottom clean. They move inside the gravel and prevent waste from building up. The ones moving across the glass slowly remove the green layer over time. And the ones active around plants and decorations take care of algae in hidden areas. Even though they help clean the glass slowly, I don't depend only on them, because glass algae can build up faster. So I clean the glass manually when needed and let them handle the rest over time. Together, they create a natural cleaning system inside the tank. Because of this, the overall algae started reducing slowly. And then I added another type of cleaner, something much more active. Always moving, always searching, always cleaning. They go into corners, plants, and even the smallest spaces. And once they were in the tank, I could clearly see the difference. The hair algae started reducing, and the tank began to look much cleaner. This was the moment I realized it's not about removing algae completely, it's about controlling it the right way. But one thing I understood clearly, this is not magic. Nothing works instantly. If the root cause is not controlled, the problem will always come back. So I continue maintaining balance in the tank. I do regular water changes, I remove visible waste, and I keep observing how the tank behaves. Over time, everything starts stabilizing. Now, algae doesn't disappear completely, but it stays under control, and that is exactly what we want. A natural aquarium will always have a little algae, but it should never take over the tank.
Now here's something very important that I learned. If I start seeing too many of these cleaners suddenly, that usually means I am overfeeding, because more food means more waste, and that leads to imbalance. So instead of ignoring it, I correct my feeding, and automatically everything comes back to normal. This simple observation changed everything for me. Now my tank feels more natural, more stable, and much easier to maintain. But to really understand why algae comes, I had to understand what's happening inside the water, something called the nitrogen cycle. At first, this sounded very complicated to me, but in reality, it's actually very simple. Every time I feed my fish, or when waste builds up in the tank, it starts breaking down, and that produces ammonia. Ammonia is very harmful, not just for fish, but it also affects the balance of the aquarium. Now, inside a healthy tank, there are good bacteria. These bacteria convert ammonia into nitrite and then into nitrate. This whole process is called the nitrogen cycle, and nitrate is the final result. Now here's where things get interesting. If nitrate starts building up too much, it becomes food for algae. So basically, algae is not just randomly growing, it's feeding on the excess nutrients in your tank. And in my case, that's exactly what was happening. I was feeding more, there was more waste, more nitrate, and that was directly supporting algae growth, especially hair algae, which grows very fast when nutrients are high. So once I understood this, everything became much clearer. Instead of just cleaning algae again and again, I started controlling what causes it. By feeding less, by doing regular water changes, and by maintaining balance, I reduced the nutrient levels in my tank. And when nutrients reduce, algae also starts reducing naturally. This is also why natural cleaners help so much, because they consume some of that excess material and keep the system more balanced. So, in simple words, algae is not the real problem. It's just a result of imbalance inside the tank. Once you fix the cause, the effect slowly disappears. And that's when everything starts working together. The fish, the plants, the bacteria, and the cleaners, all creating one balanced ecosystem. More stable and much easier to maintain. No chemicals, no complicated methods, just simple control and the right balance inside the tank. If you follow this approach, you'll start seeing results in your aquarium too. And trust me, watching your tank come back to life is one of the most satisfying things. If this video helped you, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to learn more from real aquarium experience, subscribe to Aqua World Life. I'm building this channel step by step so you don't have to go through the same mistakes. And tell me in the comments, what type of algae are you dealing with right now? I'll see you in the next video.